Welcome back. Today's episode dives into perhaps the most disturbing, surreal, and ethically bankrupt experiment in U.S. intelligence history. No aliens, no Cold War spies, just the government weaponizing human desire. Get ready for a story so fraught with secrecy and psychological cruelty that even Congress could not fully untangle it. This is Operation Midnight Climax. Chapter 1. The CIA's Playground of Vice. The 1950s were supposed to be America's golden era. Suburbs, white picket fences, leave it to Beaver. But beneath the polished image, the government's darkest minds were plotting something unimaginable. It began with a single objective: controlling the human mind. If thought, emotion, and obedience could be manipulated at will, then war, politics, and even democracy itself could be controlled. That dream led to Project MKUltra, the most extensive covert psychological experiment in U.S. history. But MKUltra needed human subjects, disposable subjects. So the CIA created a covert arm, one that weaponized desire, addiction, and vulnerability. They called it Operation Midnight Climax, a secret network of CIA brothels designed to test drugs on unsuspecting victims. The targets? Everyday citizens. And they never saw it coming. Chapter 2. The Architect of Manipulation, Sidney Gottlieb. Every conspiracy has a mastermind, and this one had a soft voice and a quiet smile. Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, the CIA's poison expert, believed that mind control was not just possible, it was inevitable. He did not care about ethics. He did not care about consent. He cared about results. Gottlieb's vision was shockingly simple: dose civilians with LSD in real-world environments, then watch how they behave. He hired drug dealers, informants, criminals, and even professional sex workers to help. No consent forms, no medical oversight, just people being turned into lab rats. To Gottlieb, psychedelics were tools. To the victims, they became psychological weapons that shattered minds. This was experimentation disguised as pleasure, and the CIA paid for every minute of it. Chapter 3. San Francisco's Safe Houses. The first Midnight Climax operation launched in San Francisco's Telegraph Hill, an area already crawling with nightlife, sailors, and drug culture. An unassuming apartment became a government-run honey trap. Inside, rooms were fitted with two-way mirrors, microphones, and hidden cameras. Sex workers hired by the CIA were instructed to lure men inside, then slip LSD into their drinks. Behind the glass, CIA operatives watched every twitch, every breakdown, every confession. The targets did not know they were part of history's most unethical drug experiment. They did not even know they were on camera. These safe houses became playgrounds of paranoia, voyeurism, and psychological abuse funded by taxpayers, protected by secrecy, and justified by national security. Chapter 4. The New York Expansion. San Francisco was not enough. The CIA expanded the operation to Greenwich Village, New York, an artistic district filled with writers, musicians, and social outsiders. To Gottlieb, it was perfect. Emotionally volatile, politically rebellious, chemically curious. The CIA frontman George Hunter White, a former narcotics agent with a love of alcohol and sadistic humor, ran the East Coast Division. He decorated safe houses with velvet furniture, whips, and pornography. He hosted drug parties and sex experiments under the guise of law enforcement work. White bragged later, "I did my best work when I was drunk." Victims, artists, students, activists became unwilling test subjects in a government-funded nightmare. The goal was no longer intelligence. It was control. Chapter 5. A government without oversight. Normally, a project like this would involve congressional review, oversight committees, and legal frameworks. Instead, Operation Midnight Climax operated in total darkness. No warrants, no consent, no accountability. The CIA's justification? Fear. They claimed the Soviets were developing mind control programs and America needed to match them. In reality, the Soviets were not even close. The CIA was chasing fantasies, guided by paranoia and psychological obsession. But when a government believes itself above the law, every citizen becomes expendable. Records, budgets, and documents were hidden behind classified walls. Even presidents were not fully informed. Democracy exists when people have rights. Midnight Climax functioned on the belief that people did not matter at all. Chapter 6. The human cost. Victims suffered catastrophically. Some experienced psychotic breaks, paranoia, and cognitive damage. Others walked away believing they had been drugged, stalked, or abducted, but with no evidence. Many simply disappeared into addiction, poverty, or suicide. Their names were never reported. Their families never received closure. Because the CIA destroyed most of the records in 1973, we will never know how many lives were ruined. Imagine waking up after a night of fun with visions that haunt you for decades. Imagine being told that the voices in your head are your fault, while the real culprits laugh behind a mirror. This was not science. It was psychological warfare against the American people. Chapter 7. Exposure, denial, and destroyed evidence. Operation Midnight Climax remained invisible until 1974, when investigative journalist Seymour Hersh exposed CIA domestic spying. His report triggered outrage, and Congress demanded answers. The Church Committee investigated and discovered fragments of the truth. The revelations were explosive. The CIA had weaponized sex, drugs, and civilian bodies. Then came the bombshell. Gottlieb had ordered MK-Ultra documents destroyed. The committee uncovered just enough to prove the operation existed, but not enough to prosecute anyone. The CIA responded with denial, half-truths, and bureaucratic misdirection. No one was jailed, and no one was held accountable. The victims simply became footnotes in a conspiracy that was suddenly no longer a conspiracy at all. Chapter 8. Legacy of a Government Gone Rogue. What does Midnight Climax teach us? That governments do not test the limits of science. They test the limits of morality. Once secrecy becomes a shield, citizens become targets. Gottlieb retired quietly, unpunished. George Hunter White died a free man. The safe houses were dismantled, the mirrors removed, the cameras unplugged. But the mindset, the belief that the state can experiment on its own people, never disappeared. From drone surveillance to mass data collection, the technology has changed. But the philosophy has not. Operation Midnight Climax was not a mistake. It was policy. And it proved one terrifying truth. Once power learns it can violate human rights in secret, it never stops. Thanks for sticking with me through another deep dive into the hidden chapters of history. If you found today's episode eye-opening, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who enjoys truth over propaganda. Your engagement helps push this channel past censorship and algorithm suppression. Until next time, stay curious and stay awake.